All right, we're live. Trading deadline show, I guess. Special show. Um, it's kind of quiet right now, but I guess we have. I don't know if you guys want to go over all the injuries we've had so far. Um, there's still not the
I don't think we
huge
have enough
name.
time of the day to go over all the injuries, man. Like this year's been crazy for injuries.
That's the thing. Like, there's been a lot of small trades. There hasn't been big trades to where I feel like, oh man, that's a big trade. While like breaking news, like like you hear every year you hear like, oh, Scherzer's getting traded. Maybe those are old school players now. But right now I don't see like unless something big happens in these last 30 minutes, and that'll be cool. Last year it was kind of boring. If you guys don't remember when we were live, we were like, man, what the hell
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah,
So
nothing really happened last year. What was it last year? Or I'm sorry, 2 years ago that there were actually some like much bigger trades that happened.
2 years ago, it was bigger trades. So I mean, I guess we can go over like what can happen if you guys are in chat. I mean, just let us know what you guys think. If there's something, there's Kevin. How's it going, Kevin? You should have hopped on, man. This is oh, he's on. Is he hopping on? No. Send him the invite. Have him in here. Yeah. I honestly think like, is there any trades you guys think that's gonna happen? Maybe a prediction before we hit the 3 o'clock deadline.
Ooh,
Well,
who's ready?
White Sox seem to be like big sellers, so I think Luis Robert might be on his way out.
Luis Robert.
Yeah, I think he's got to go somewhere, man. I don't think the White Sox are gonna hang on to him. There would really be no point.
That's the thing, though. If Robert is on the trading block, I honestly feel like maybe the team that gets him has to be really careful because this guy gets injured all the time, man. It's
Yeah,
kind of
you
like,
Yeah,
right. Go ahead, Ernie.
you got a point, Carlos. And I guess with Luis Rivera, I think the main question is where would he be landing? Because you saw the Braves were kind of interested in him earlier in the season. Now they went ahead and got Jorge Soler last night.
mhm.
So the question is, where will Luis Rivera go to? I know the Phillies could use another outfield, but then they also got Austin Hayes. So there's a lot of question marks.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking because they're talking about Austin Hayes being the everyday left fielder and Rojas and Marsh sharing time in center field. And right field, you already have Castellanos. You're not going to take that bat out of your lineup. So where would he really fit? You already have a permanent DH with Schwarber. So I don't really think that really makes any sense for unless Austin Hayes ends up going to the White Sox, in like a package deal. But that really wouldn't make sense either. The White Sox are rebuilding. They're not going to take a vet. So
You're
I don't,
right.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
but I think someone's gonna land Robert and someone's gonna land Crochet. Oh, Kevin's in the chat right now talking
On the
about
chat.
Crochet, but
Yeah,
that seems to be the biggest one. But I heard you guys talking about it on the Sunday show that about what Crochet wants in his deal. It's like, dude, you're a rookie. Who are you to be demanding stuff?
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like when you when and I think everybody had a valid point when we were talking about Crochet. Like, okay, you're a rookie and you're demanding all these things. You're demanding for you to get a contract extension if you get to trade it. But if you get traded to a team that's contending for the playoffs and going possibly to the World Series, he's saying that he won't pitch in the bullpen. You're in the limit innings pitcher right now. Like, you're kind of at limitations because you have had Tommy John surgery. Now you're saying this, and this is where it comes out. You go to Twitter and you go to like John Heyman, like, since we have him around right now, like, that's the thing that I kind of see. Like, this guy said that if he goes to a contending team, he's not going to even play in the bullpen. He needs to get that extension for him to pitch in the playoffs. It's just like, okay, as a team, I'm tied up. Like, what do I do? I can't really do much. And then the White Sox are like, man, you really said that? You really, really said that? Like, that's not going to help our team at all. So, like, I mean, do you think that's a thing that a pitcher should ask for in a pivotal time for him to get traded? As I guess as an owner, you look at that and you're like, man, that kind of screwed my trading thoughts on how to trade this man to another team, to a contending team, and possibly get like 3, 4 guys for him that are not MLB ready, but I can get them ready. So
I'm
I think that
wondering if this is like from his agent or if he just kind of like came out on his own and said this. Maybe him and his agent were talking about this, and he wasn't supposed to say anything, out in public, but then, he ends up doing it anyway. Maybe this could have been like kind of like behind the scenes type of thing rather than letting everyone know, like this is what I want. Like it's cool like if you're the best pitcher in Major League Baseball, like if it was Paul Skeens, on the other side and he was saying this instead of Crochet, would we be saying something different? Knowing
yeah.
that Paul Skeens has already had like, 12 starts or whatever it is in Major League Baseball. And we've seen that he could potentially be the number one pitcher in all of baseball. So is it different? I know Crochet is not at the level that Paul Skeens is, but for the American League side, he's at least like somewhat to be equivalent to Skeens. So would there be a difference in your guys' opinion if it was Skeens that said this instead of Crochet?
Um, right now, go ahead, Ernie. I think I'm taking a lot of talking points, but I want you to go
Nah, man,
ahead.
it's yeah. If Skeens was to give this demand, I think any team would just accept it because Skeens is that once in a lifetime type pitcher that you don't get too often. And Crochet just came out of nowhere this year. What if he just has this one fluky season and
Yep.
never turns out to be the same? So
Like
that's
Blake
why a
Snell.
lot of teams are holding. Yes, exactly. So that's why I have a feeling a lot of teams are holding back and are scared to make the trade for Crochet. Will he get traded? We have 22 minutes to go, but I still see him getting traded. Just the demand of pitching, like you mentioned in the beginning of the show, the amount of injuries with pitching has been crazy this season, and a lot of teams are desperately needed of an arm out there.
Yeah, and Garrett Cole just he got scratched from today's start because of overall body fatigue. He said it's not an injury.
Yeah.
He's not hurt. He's just tired. And I don't know, maybe being on the IL for so long, and not making a start for so long, and then just kind of like rushed into the rotation because he didn't really have too many rehab starts, right? I think he had like two
I think he had
before,
two.
before he
Yes.
came back. Yeah,
He
and
might
that's
have
not
had
a
two.
lot with the type of layoff that he had. I think he probably needed to build up to that. And he's on the wrong side of 30. And these guys, they get tired a lot quicker than, if he was 26 or 27 years old.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to your question, Will, and Skeens. Like, if it was Paul Skeens saying that, I'll still say, like, what? Who are you? Like, you haven't proved yourself in major leagues. You only had the first half of baseball, and then you're demanding this. Like, no. Um, I guess I'm just a little bit of more old school. Like, I would want him to perform more years than just one, because Crochet has only performed this year. And Ernie, you hit it right on the ball, dude. Like, seriously, he hasn't done anything for the White Sox. The White Sox are not winning. The White Sox aren't doing anything, and you're part of that team. So that kind of shows me that you're not being a team player if you're coming out with those things. Yes, I look at the health and all that stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Someone, you need to look for your health, and you need to protect your health, because this is what's going to pay you in the long run. But you have no leverage right now to say those things, I feel. So let's say the Dodgers trade for him and they get him. He's going to be pitching every 6, 7 day. Like, that's a long time. How are you going to get prepared to go into the playoffs doing that sort of thing? So I'm not the Dodgers. I'm not any other organization, but those organizations are thinking of doing those things to, for this pitcher to get him into the playoffs, or possibly just pitch in the playoffs. And I kind of don't agree with it, because sometimes you need to pitch in those high leverage competitive games so you can get into the playoffs. And being that their pitchers starting every seventh day, that's just pushing too much. Like, that's just getting too comfortable pitching every 7 game, instead of saying, you know what, let's pitch him every 5, 6. I'll give it 6. I'll give it 6. That's the most. But if you go all the way 7, that just feels like, okay, he's gonna feel more relaxed, way more relaxed. And in the playoffs, you guys seen how intense playoffs are, how pitchers want the ball every third day, and they're like, you know what, I'm ready to go. So maybe that's something that these teams are looking at, and like, look, I'm a trade for a big leverage player, but I want him to perform in, like, let's say Bumgarner. I know Bumgarner fell off at the end of the year, whatever, like 2 years ago or last year, whatever it was. But look at what he did for the Giants. He wanted to start and he wanted to close the games, and that's why they got the World Series. So that's the type of guy that you're not going to get with Crochet. Pretty much, you're not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Whatever happened to you just kind of like do whatever the coach says. Yes, coach. Like that type of mentality. Because what was it last season that we saw Josh Hader told the Padres that I don't want to go in the 8th inning. I don't pitch 2 innings. I only close out games.
Yeah.
Like what is that? Who are you to tell the coach, like your boss, basically, like, no, I'm not going to do that. That's insubordination right there. He should get a write up or something. That's what happened at my work. So
Hey, but they could drink in baseball. Josh Beckett back in the days, he threw a no-hitter with the Dodgers drunk. So,
did he?
Yeah. Ellis from the Pirates back in the
Domingo
70s.
Germán did the same thing last season.
Oh, damn.
Ellis from the Pirates, he threw a no-hitter on LSD, dude. So what the hell?
All right. So I guess the one last thing that Tony's asking, any predictions we can make with 18 minutes left. What move do you guys expect to happen in the next 18 minutes?
I don't think it's going to be anything to do with the Orioles or the Padres.
You don't think so? No.
I think the Orioles and the Padres are done. They've already done so much. Like, now it's just going to be overkill.
Is it enough, though?
Is
That's
it enough?
I think Scooble the answer, though. If you go for Scooble,
you go
man,
for
you have the prospects to trade him. 6 months ago, I would have told you the Tigers will never trade Scooble. That's their ace for forever, right? But now the amount of prospects you could get from the Orioles, why not go for it?
They're first rounders too, dude. They're first draft rounders. Like they're not those like, oh yeah, they're like number 20. No. They're good ass freaking players that the Tigers scouts have been out there in the Orioles organization checking them out. So they know what they want. It's just the Orioles are probably like, okay, the Tigers have the ball in their court. They're gonna ask for whoever I want, what they want, but are they going to pull the trigger? I think they should pull the trigger because they're all still young.
You have to. You have
exactly.
to win.
Exactly. So,
man, and then you got Blake Snell. I think Tony mentions Blake Snell. It's another great option. You see the Giants already doing salary dumps with Jorge Soler last night. Where is Blake Snell going to go to? He has to get traded too, right?
But is anyone going to want Blake Snell? I feel like the Giants aren't really going to get much for him. I know Cy Young winner from last season, but he hasn't really done anything to impress me this season. Like he gets strikeouts, that's for sure.
Right. But that second half run, why not go for it?
Maybe, but are you willing to gamble and give up top prospects for something like that? And I feel like the Giants, they just need to just run with Blake Snell. It's like you already have the guy. He's going to put butts in the seats. That's what you should be worried about right now. If it was the Blake Snell from last year, if he performed and he had like a 2 ERA, that'd be completely different. But I don't think that Blake Snell's value is high enough for him to actually get traded. He's not. The Giants aren't going to get enough in return for a pitcher like that. What's up, Kevin?
What's up? It's a salary dump.
Yeah, it is a salary dump, but unless another team's going to be like, all right, we'll take him, but you're paying half his salary.
And that's what's going to happen. But what's up, Kev? That's the thing. Like, I honestly think that if the Giants, I feel like the Giants already know they're only 4 games back in the wild card, by the way. But they know that they can win the World Series with this team.
You guys see this?
Yeah. Well, what is it?
Eloy Jimenez to the Orioles.
What?
Damn.
Why? What is the point of that? They have like 18 outfielders.
Well, they did trade away Stowers and Hayes, obviously. So, I don't know. I don't love it.
They need a pinch hitter option, I guess, for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Why Jimenez? I mean, he was great. He was a top prospect before, but now, he's barely rosterable.
I do think Jimenez needs a change of scenery. So I think for him, a change of scenery is good. But I don't know. I think it's just crowded. He needs everyday at bats in a change of scenery, and he's not going to get that in Baltimore. But for Baltimore, you get more. I would say it's potential more reliable person off the bench type of thing, but I don't know.
More depth, right?
Yeah, more depth. That's what it is, but I just don't love it.
But he's also a righty bat, and playing in Camden as a righty, it's not very favorable anymore, Right. So I would have think that the Orioles should have went after a lefty bat, I think that would have made a lot more sense because Camden Yards, they pushed that fence back in left field, like 30 feet?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
think they have. I mean, they got a good amount of lefty bats outfield wise. I think they probably want that righty just in case, to come off the bench if someone brings in, a lefty to get out their Cowser, their Mullins and stuff. Now you got a righty in there to kind of switch things up. But I mean, I'm with you.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
he
like.
is Mullins' replacement because Mullins just hasn't really been anything.
And maybe the Orioles are still moving, and they're gonna, like you said, it's a replacement. And they're gonna send Mullins for something else right now.
Or DFA him.
Yeah, or
for
DFA
school.
Google.
No, they're gonna want some crazy shit for that. They're gonna want Heston Kierstad. They're gonna want
Scooble. It's gonna be Holiday and or Mayo, Kierstad, which there's the other lefty bat that we were talking about.
Yep.
And then it's gonna be like McDermott. I mean, they're gonna get a bunch for Scooble. Like it's especially the way that the market's been for pitchers. I mean, dude, the Marlins got Stowers and Norby for Rogers. Like that blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh.
That was surprising.
Yeah.
I dropped Norby right away in my fantasy league. I'm like, well, his value just went down.
Marlins, yeah. I mean, honestly, he might be hitting. Dela Cruz is gone there. He might be hitting second in the Marlins. But between Bell being gone, Dela Cruz being gone, like Jazz is gone, he's gonna be hitting in the top 3 for the Marlins. I don't know how useful that is, but he's probably gonna be playing every day.
True.
Yeah, I guess. But still, it's like lack of runs, lack of RBI for him.
Yeah. All those counting stats.
Someone's in the Yankee game over there, and it's super loud. What's up, John? I don't think he's gone. He's gone. He'll be back.
What's going on, Cam? Are you driving right now?
I'm driving, bro.
Quick question for you. What do the Dodgers have to do today?
What's that?
What do you think the Dodgers have to do today to win this World Series this season?
I think that they should go in on Crochet. I don't love the way that Crochet and or his agent kind of demanded the whole extension thing. But with that being said, that aside, I think the Dodgers need to go in and try to go get Crochet right now. I think they need a starting pitcher. If it's not Crochet, go get Flaherty. Flaherty's an LA guy. He's at the end of his contract, but you could probably, that's not out of the question to want to re-sign him at the end of the year too, if they want to. But I think that Dodgers need to go get that starting pitcher. You got to do that counter. The Padres made some moves in the bullpen so that they can get out those heavy hitters at the top of the Dodgers lineup. So you got to make that counter offer too, or that counter punch, and try to go toe to toe with these guys.
So what happens if the Dodgers trade for a starting pitcher? Let's say they just go all out and get Tarek Skubal, right?
I got your answer right now. Yeah.
So what happens when everyone is healthy at the end of the season?
You either got, I personally, what I would do is I would just do piggybacks with a lot of these things. You let Kershaw go out there and pitch as much as he can, as much as there's certain guys. Kershaw's probably going to pitch a lot because he's Kershaw, and that's fine if he's healthy, But you also can get a chance to let these guys go 4 or 5, and then let someone else come in and go 4 or 5. And then the games that you potentially have to go extra innings or you need more bullpen situation, like you're gonna have a lot of extra arms ready for that. And I think that I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And if you want to go for it, you got to go for it now. Like Freeman is not a spring chicken. You only got him for a couple more years. Ohtani is here for a long time. Great. But you've already seen injuries happen. So if you got guys that are, Mookie's going to be back and healthy, but who's to say that next year one of these top guys is not healthy going into the postseason? You got to be ready for it. And, now's the time.
Yeah.
Phillies
with
Ohtani just acquired Tanner Banks.
Phillies what?
Phillies did just acquire Tanner Banks for what it's
Tanner
worth from the
Banks.
White Sox.
Tanner Banks? I have no idea who that is.
Nor do I, but I think at the Phillies game, I'll take it.
Fairbanks.
Hey, John, since you're online with us right now, thank you for stopping by. Who should the Phillies go after?
I would love to see them go after a bat, but it doesn't seem like they're going to do much of anything. I think Mason Miller is probably out of the picture at this point. I think they're honestly going to sit tight. I don't think they do anything.
Okay.
Not the sexy answer, but that's what's realistic. I think
Yeah,
Austin Hayes is a starter at Thursday, so
the Phillies
Yeah.
needed to bolster their bullpen, and they did that, getting Estevez. You know, Estevez is a great closer that will potentially get the Phillies to win some more games, because there's like Alvarado that they put in the ninth. He just wasn't getting it done, you know, and there's so many question marks. Like Matt Strahm, I prefer Matt Strahm more as like a mid-relief guy to go maybe 2 or 3 innings, because he's been a starter in the past before, and he's been good as mid-relief, both relief. So I don't really see him as a closer. He doesn't really have the strikeouts for that either. But Estevez, I think that was a huge upgrade for the Phillies.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Is he a guy? Is he the guy? Ernie, I'll take your judgment on that. I don't know. I think it was a very good move. I don't know if it's the guy that we have long term as our closer, and that's what we need.
The past 3 months, he's been really on fire. He's been unhittable, but he has shown cases like last season where his fastball could just be off and he could get raked. So, but from now, these past 3 months, you're getting somebody that's been pitching lights out.
You take him. Might see him tonight.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you weren't at yesterday's game.
Yeah, really. That would really suck.
Yeah.
So, how are we feeling? What are they going to do with Eloy in Baltimore now? What's the point of that trade?
Log jam. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lame. I think it's just a right-handed bat coming off the bench when you've got Kauser, Kerstad, and Mullins back to back, and then they bring in a lefty to set him down, and you get Eloy off the bench just to switch it up.
Does anyone know how much longer the Orioles are going to have control over Jimenez?
It's a good question.
I think it's just this year.
I'm going to check right now.
There's only six minutes left before the trade deadline stops, but there hasn't been no movement. Like, it's just quiet.
I think if we see something, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 4 or 5 minutes after the deadline. It's like, it's in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they also have the waivers trade, right? So that
I don't know if you guys can see that behind me, but it's hilarious. That's my current view.
All right, so Eloy Jimenez has club options after this year, so it's up to the Orioles if they want to keep him or not.
I still feel like the Orioles need to make a big trade. Like, I've said it every year. Like, they're still too young for me to make it all the way to the World Series.
So
they still need that veteran. They need that veteran presence, dude. Like, veteran presence meaning a guy has gone to the playoffs. And the only guy I thought about, and he already got traded to the Mariners, was Justin Turner. Like, something cheap.
I got some news for you guys.
What's up?
Twitter's announcing, or X, Dodgers are acquiring Kevin Kiermaier from the Blue Jays.
On the Blue Jays? What? Another?
I'm not sure if that is true, but let's see. And then
that's so boring, though.
Garrett Crochet will reportedly not be traded.
Yeah. Ken Rosenthal.
Yep, Garrett Crochet not traded.
Yeah, so
last second, got to go get Flaherty right now.
Yep, Flaherty. Yeah. He's the only one. Or call the Giants, whatever. Snell. Whoever needs a pitcher, they're gonna have to go after them.
I said Snell's not going anywhere either.
And then Jeff Passan just sent Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers.
Seriously?
Jeff Passan?
Yeah, Jeff Passan. Yep.
Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers.
Yep.
Oh, I just saw it right now. Yeah, Jack Flaherty. Jack Flaherty to the Dodgers.
Go!
So that's.
Did you guys see the picture of him with his Dodger hat when he was a kid? He's ready.
He is fired up.
He's been a Dodger his whole life. He's just been waiting for this day.
Yeah, my buddy I'm going on the baseball trip with, I will introduce this is my buddy Briar, if I can introduce. Say hi, party people.
Yeah, they're already reporting it. Jeff Passan, they're reporting that at MLB network. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah,
So
I
Jack
like it.
Flaherty to the Dodgers for sure. That's a good move.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
What
Honestly,
they give up?
yeah,
No
that's
They
word on
haven't
that
said
yet.
no word.
No word yet. All right,
All
because
right.
I think that's going to be a bigger deal than getting Jack Flaherty. Because adding Jack Flaherty is fine. He's a solid number 3 that he's been banged up in the past before, but hopefully he can get through that, get through the rest of the season without any injuries or anything. But I feel like
What?
you can't really give up too much for a guy
Yeah.
like that who has been kind of like up and down throughout his whole career.
So I agree. I think that with him, he's a 3 on our roster, on the Dodgers roster, with everyone healthy. I think with almost every other team, other than obviously the Phillies or the Mariners or something.
Is that choppy to you guys too? Because I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah, it's
really-
choppy. It's choppy.
From
Kevin,
my understanding, he's only
there you
on like the rest of this year, so he's a rental. Uh-oh. He's only for the rest of this year, right?
Yeah, he's a rental.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah. So
let me check.
he's super rental, so he will be cheaper than some of these other guys.
All right, Kevin Kiermaier, he's a free agent in 2025.
Even Rogers is under. Then I think it would probably be one of the top prospects, and then a couple. What about Flaherty?
Like control contract?
Kiermaier's. Yeah.
Jack Flaherty. Let's see.
So Kevin Kiermaier said he's retiring after the end of the season. That's correct.
Did he?
Yeah, he's trying to get a ring. Yeah.
Didn't he announce his retirement before, and then he ended up playing
this week?
So yeah, Flaherty is also a free agent after this season.
Tony's saying Kiermaier is boo boo.
I mean, he's fine. Like Kevmo said earlier, he's like a number 3. I think I actually view him as a number 4 in the Dodgers rotation, because I still think that Kershaw is more valuable than Flaherty, and that has nothing to do with injuries or anything. I trust Kershaw in the regular season a lot more than I trust Jack Flaherty in the regular season. Kershaw has done it every single season. I think I've only seen one season where he actually had like issues, and that was the year after he hurt his back, but ever since then, when he's healthy, he's on. He's close to a 3 ERA, either a little under or a little over. Tony's saying he's a 5, and I guess I could see that, also if you have Walker Buehler that comes back and actually like performs well, which I hope he does on my fantasy as well. So I'm really hoping that that Walker Buehler can kind of turn things around. Also, he has been making some strides. He made a rehab start a couple days ago, and they said he still doesn't look too good, but his mechanics are starting to look a lot better. So hopefully all this training that Walker Buehler's been getting in the last month or so, like it's actually been like helping. Padres got Martin Perez.
Yep, that's the latest one.
That's the latest one. It's all the trades are happening. Christmas is happening.
Wow.
It's already 3 o'clock. So it's 3 o'clock. So I think we're gonna start
Luis Garcia was traded. Luis Garcia from the Angels to the Red Sox.
Yeah, I saw that one coming.
Which one?
Luis Garcia, a reliever from the Angels, going to the Red Sox.
To the Red Sox?
Yep.
That's good.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good trade.
Hey,
so Jack Flaherty only signed 1 year with the Tigers, so he's taking his $14 million contract with them, I'm pretty sure. So it's just a rental too.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I don't think you're gonna have to give up as much for him.
Nah, I don't think so either.
I don't even. I mean, he's been really good this year, and the market has been crazy. But I mean, I don't know. One of Cartea rushing, maybe DePaula was just one of those guys, I would say, and then maybe some other like middling guys. So, see,
Yeah. And change of scenery too sometimes helps. I think that I'm a big advocate for that. Like I like to push for like when they have trades, you have those players that show up in different teams for some reason.
yeah.
And yeah, I like the trade, but I mean, should have the Dodgers done something bigger? You have all these injuries and they're coming back too, so that's kind of scary, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Doesn't scare us Phillies fans. That's all I know.
I would have liked a better bat. I think the Dodgers not getting a bigger bat means that they're really planning on Muncy coming back. I don't know how much I believe that or I trust that, but that's what I would. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of scary. I don't even know if he's gonna come back. That's the thing.
I know. I agree. And I think that's why they have. If they got Kiermaier, I think that's why, or because they got Kiermaier, I think it's so that
Rays
in the infield and Kiermaier can play center type of thing.
True.
I mean, the Dodgers
Dylan
needed
Carlson to the Rays.
for sure.
Who was that, John?
They got Dylan Carlson to the Rays for Sean Armstrong to the Cardinals, reliever. The Rays get Dylan Carlson. Cardinals get reliever Sean Armstrong.
Boo, that's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Carlson was a big name.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an interesting trade for a prospect, and I think it's a big move for the Cardinals to say we're trying here. I mean, Carlson's a big prospect to trade, honestly.
I feel like the Rays, like they are sneaky, man. Like they develop their players so well. They see something in players. Like I swear, like I'm quoting Moneyball every time I'm talking about the Rays, but they see something in players that no one else sees. They see value in players that no one else sees. You know, look what they did with Zach Eflin, you know, and Aaron Savali. But before they kind of like, you know, before this season when both of them have been kind of like down also. But there's so many players that the Rays got. A Rosarena, you know, another one from the Cardinals that was just trash with the Cardinals. And then he comes over to the Rays and he's one of the best players during their World Series run in 2020. You know,
the Rays are selling and then they'll be back in it in like a year or two. I mean,
yep.
They're getting
exactly.
They're going to get all their. Listen to their pitching staff next year. It's going to be McClanahan, Springs, Bradley, Shane Boz. I mean, they're going to be right back in it. Like,
yep.
You know, and they'll probably turn Morel into something decent because that's what they do.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
And exactly like what John was saying, Carlson is a good prospect, and every time that the Cardinals trade away someone. Or I mean, not good. I mean, he's a prospect, decent, but like he, every time the Cardinals trade away someone, they turn into something pretty decent. Like you said, a Rosarena, Adolis Garcia. You know, it's happened. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Rays do the same thing with him, and you know, bada bing, they're back in it in a year.
I really thought there were going to be more sellers this season. Like, there's so many like mediocre or even bad teams that didn't really do much.
It's the wild card thing, dude. The wild card is making everyone believe that they're still in it. I mean, look at what both teams that made it to the World Series last year were. You know, everyone's like, we can if we make it in. All you got to do is make it into the dance. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
That's what everyone's feeling.
Well, in the National League, you only have the Rockies and the Marlins that are out of it. Look at the Cubs; they went and got Paredes. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were out of it, and no, they still fighting for that wild card spot. Like, so.
Right.
Which is why Jamison Tyone is not going anywhere.
Nah, and I think for the Cubs, I honestly feel like, do they have enough to win the World Series? They need to
No way.
realize no, they don't. So I think this is bad for the Cubs. That's in my thought. Like I just feel like they messed up. The
They have enough
Giants
to sell tickets.
Yeah.
exactly. The
That
Giants felt like yeah, you know what? I don't think I have enough to win the World Series. So that's why they got rid of Soler. And that home run he hit in Game 7 in Houston, that ball hasn't still landed, dude. So
You know, them trading away Cobb too. I mean, that was Alex Cobb. That's not. I mean, that's not huge, but that's for sure them selling. I'm sure they were shopping
Exactly.
for this, you know.
Yeah,
But he's
I
just
thought
definitely.
Detroit would have been bigger sellers, because I know he's on the IL right now, but Riley Green, I feel like you probably could have gotten a lot for him. He's going to come back soon, and Riley Green isn't going to do anything by himself for the Tigers. They could have got some prospects back in return from him,
Hmm.
stuff like that. Like I thought that would have been like a little bit more common sense for these like lower market teams to go out and trade guys like that.
Yeah.
All right, so before we continue, I just want to ask everyone, like, has there been a big trade for you guys this year so far? Like, what's the biggest trade so far? Because I guess we're still waiting for, I guess, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know, 10 minutes. Maybe there'll be something bigger. But as of now, has there been a trade where you're like, wow, that's amazing? No.
I think Jazz is like the biggest one.
That was probably the most blockbuster-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sexiest one, I think. But if I'm being honest, I think to John's team, I think that the Estevez trade is probably one of the biggest ones, like impact-wise. I think that's going to be huge for them. I honestly was okay with. I mean, not okay, obviously, because I'm not a Phillies guy, but I thought Hoffman was probably legit. But now they have two guys there that are pretty legit, and like now their bullpen looks. I mean, that one piece makes it a lot better, and I think that's probably one of the biggest, but definitely not one of the sexiest. I think the Jazz is the sexy trade, but
Yeah.
I think Estevez is probably one of the most impactful ones.
I agree, and I get Hoffman, but
Yeah.
the problem is you got other guys in the bullpen that you can't really trust. You've already tried it, and it just hasn't worked out, and you need a setup guy. You can't just expect like your starters to go 8 innings and then your closer to close out the game for you.
I think the Phils will be a next man up approach. I think in October when it really counts, and I think Estevez is going to be the guy for now. I think they're really going to see what he's got over here for the next 2 months of the next season. And I think they're going to throw Alvarado in there. I think they're going to throw Kirkland in there once in a while, but I think Estevez is probably going to be the guy moving forward here. So that'll be interesting. But I did think they would trade for at least one more arm. I'm surprised they didn't.
Yeah.
We'll see. So the Tigers traded Mark Canha to the Giants. That's a weird one.
That is a weird one.
I think I like that when they asked Estevez about if he's the closer, he said, "I'll just do whatever they ask me to do," and I said.
Did he get stuck?
He got
stuck.
Had a good one there. I like that they asked. Uh-oh. I was just saying. I like that they asked. I like that they asked Estevez if he's the closer or what he's expecting, and he just said, "I'll do what they ask me to do." And
that's the right attitude, man. That's what you have to say. Whether if that's like what you believe or not, that's the answer you say to cameras.
Right.
If you say other things to friends and family behind closed doors, you say whatever's on your heart, but you don't go out there and tell the league things that you're thinking in your head. You just shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah, I agree.
So you guys see this one right here? The Reds have traded Austin Slater to the Orioles. The Orioles got another outfielder.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? What are they doing?
What are these? I don't know.
They're just making small trades.
Yeah. I don't get that.
And there's 2 Braves fans right in front of me at a Yankees Phillies game.
They had a what?
And there's like 2 Braves fans in front of me at a Yankees Phillies game. A lot of things aren't making sense today.
That's how I
They're
feel
probably
when the
just Philly
Giants.
haters.
We
That's
got
how.
Dylan Floro to the D-backs.
Who?
Dylan
Dylan.
Floro is going to the Diamondbacks.
Dylan Floro.
Oh, Dylan Floro. He still pitches. Yeah.
Yeah, Nationals traded him.
I haven't heard of Dylan Floro since what was it, 2020 or
1997.
what? 1997?
Well, so the Dodgers traded Thyron Lirianzo and Trey Sweeney. That is it. That's amazing.
Martin Perez to the Padres.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Both prospects that the Dodgers created are prospects. They're not any of their top guys, so I love this. That's a win for the Dodgers, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, he's a rental, so it's not like they were going to give up much for him anyway.
And if I'm being honest, I mean, I'm very skeptical on the 2 guys, Miller and Buehler, coming back. I'm very hopeful, but if everyone's healthy, those guys both have the stuff to be good bullpen arms. And they're obviously showing that they're not ready currently to take on a whole 5+ inning workload. So, I mean, if everyone's healthy, those guys back into the bullpen, or even not back end, I think it's fine. I like the Flaherty move.
Yeah, the Dodgers have always been huge on starting pitching depth, because they're famously known for having starting pitchers just go on the IL every couple months.
Right.
It's been every starting pitcher that they've had for as long as I can remember. Even guys like Julio Urias that is not on a team anymore. He was on the IL a few different times. Kershaw throughout his career, Buehler throughout his career. Before Zach Greinke, he got banged up a couple times. They're just kind of like infamous for that. So adding the depth, it's fine. Especially for a rental. Just in case. I feel like that's probably a little smart on the Dodgers' behalf, especially especially considering that they didn't really give up too much for him.
I'm kind of surprised that the Blue Jays stay put on trying to trade players off, trying to make their team better for next year. I guess they're just sticking up to their core, maybe one more year and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, they're going to start trading people. But I thought Vladimir Jr. was going to get traded.
Bro, I just read your comments, man. What the hell?
What's going on? I'm putting the comments. I'm putting all the stuff that I see.
Ryan Yarbrough to the Blue Jays for Kiermaier.
Yeah.
Well, you like that one?
That
you're not too happy about it.
That's why they got Kopech. They got Kopech so they can get rid of Ryan Yarbrough. And I think I like the lefty more than the righty.
Yes, same.
Right?
I guess.
That's kind of why I feel a little bit upset that they got rid of Paxton, because he's a lefty pitcher too.
Yeah, but
what was the point of them getting rid of Paxton?
I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking about.
Something had to have happened there because it made no sense. He was not pitching that early. He was on my other fantasy team, and he's getting me points. He got me 18 points, and next thing he's in Boston uniform for nothing.
He's pitching today too, so
yeah. Hopefully he
so weird.
Yeah, I didn't see but yeah, this one Yarbrough. I mean, he wasn't pitching all that lights out either, but he's a lefty pitcher, and those are really hard to come by when you have a lefty pitcher. So, I mean, it happens.
Wow. Do you guys think there's going to be any more trades in the next 15 minutes, or you think this is it?
Let's just wait. Yeah.
How does that work?
For the next... Well, right now, everybody's getting the details out and making sure that everything got done. There's
we got to trade Gregory Soto to the Orioles.
Seriously?
Gregory Soto to the Orioles.
What? Another one?
See, they keep.
Man, all these last minute
my boy John got Philly insider information. You know.
Yeah.
So he knows who got traded before we do.
And who was it yesterday that got traded? Like, I think it was Morel. He got traded like mid-game. So they brought him into the clubhouse and told him, go take a shower. You're done.
Did you guys see how Kopech left the White Sox?
No.
They passed the beer around and everything, and they all took a swag out of it, and then they just dumped the whole beer in the ground, and then he took off.
Damn.
I guess it's a White Sox tradition when you get traded.
Yeah, I guess so, right? I guess I thought that was pretty cool though. I get it. They build a camaraderie out there, and like they're out there almost basically every day together, so they're family. So why not, right?
Can we talk about how teams overpaid for some players? Man, some guys gave up like 2 top prospects for just 1 reliever for a short rental. You got the Astros that traded their young talent for Jusei Kikuchi. I didn't see why would they give up all their top prospects for that.
That was insane. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was texting Will about it, and I was like, the Astros got better, obviously, because of Kikuchi. They needed that starting pitcher, but it made them worse for the future for sure. They got rid of a couple pretty good guys for Kikuchi. I was like, I mean,
I'm good. I would have passed.
I like that for the future. Yeah. Tanner Banks. So I guess Kiermaier was for yard already.
Yeah.
All right. Minnesota to Baltimore for righty starter Seth Johnson, who goes on 40-man roster coming from Orioles as reported.
Damn.
Interesting. I know,
You guys see this?
There's so many weird trades this year.
Yankees were reportedly getting interest in Alex Verdugo this afternoon. So maybe that's something that's going to happen in the next couple minutes.
Yeah. I know they were talking about that and Torres, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Well, I guess I'm not really surprised because they said he's not going to, but I really thought the Blue Jays were just kind of like pulling our chains saying that Vlad was not going to get traded. I thought someone was going to go after him. I thought they were going to give the world for him.
Especially because he's been hot lately.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like the Blue Jays are just kind of like holding Vlad back. Like he would be so much better on a lot of other teams that actually know how to develop their hitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard too. Yeah.
I honestly feel like if he would have gone somewhere, it would have probably been the Yankees, because the Yankees are the only ones that I feel like needs a first baseman.
Maybe the Orioles. Because they have.
Well, the Mariners needed a first baseman. That would have.
That's true. The Mariners ain't trying to spend no money.
Right.
You never trade him in division either.
Yeah, I was gonna say it would have been hard for the Jays.
Yeah, exactly.
The Orioles or the Yanks.
Yeah. I'm surprised the Padres didn't pick up a starting pitcher.
They did, Martin Perez.
Martin Perez, but like I thought they were gonna go after like
someone
I don't know, someone
Snell,
like
Flair,
yeah. I honestly thought they were gonna probably get Snell back.
Well, the thing is that they gave up so much for those relievers, especially
Scott.
Well, the one before Scott,
Adams.
Yeah, they gave up so much for Adams. Like they had a couple decent prospects still left, like Leo DeVries, the guy that they gave up for Tanner Scott, Robbie Snelling, and then they have one more guy I can't think of off right now. But and so they I just don't think they had enough to give up that people wanted at that point. They kind of blew their wad on those other guys or on Adams. So I think that they kind of painted themselves into a corner. Plus, a lot of their prospects are now all-stars playing for the Nationals. So they kind of screwed that up a couple years ago. So honestly, the Padres, they're making their push. Good for them. But in like 2 years, they're going to be down in the dumps because their farm system is depleted.
But they do that every year. They deplete their farm system every year and try to make some type of splash, like they did with Darvish, like they did with Hosmer. Was Hosmer a signing? No, he was a signing. But there's so many players that like the Padres have acquired via trade that ends up being like, you know, 2 top prospects, and then everyone's like, oh, their farm system sucks now, you know, and then they end up trading away Juan Soto and then getting like all these prospects back in return for them, and then now they're like trading stuff away again to get some, you know, MLB ready players in return to try to like make it to the World Series this year. Oh, we could be the Diamondbacks of 2024, you know, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
And that's why I wanted the Dodgers to make a big move, because I feel like they hadn't made a big move. So it was the opposite way, in my opinion. Like every year, they end up going for Yu Darvish instead of Verlander. We lose. You know, obviously there's some cheating going on, but whatever.
That one still hurts.
Yeah, but there's a lot.
Yeah, and y'all have a freaking Astros fan on your podcast the other day.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
But, so I feel like personally, that's why I was all in on someone like Crochet and stuff, because I feel like the Dodgers were always doing that. They were always taking the second place guy, not the top name, and that's like exactly what you're saying. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing, expecting, a different result. So they needed to do something different to make a bigger move. And, I don't think it's for lack of trying that they didn't get that they tried. That's why Flaherty was a last minute thing. I think it was crochet. All right, we're not doing it. All right, let's do Flaherty real quick. Like, boom.
Yeah. That was definitely like a last minute type of thing. Like they were probably weighing their options, checking in on Skubal, checking in on Crochet.
Yeah.
Maybe there was some other starting pitching that we don't even know about that could have been possibly on the block that they were checking in on also. And Skubal's price was probably way too high, so then they settle for second best.
Now I'll tell you what, with Flaherty being a rental and the Dodgers not giving up a lot, like any of their top prospects, in the offseason, both Skubal and Crochet are probably still potential trade targets. So we'll see. It's not over. It's just over for this year.
Fellas, before I bounce, I got to tell you real quick about Seth Johnson, who was traded for Gregory Soto. Interesting stat. He's 0-6 and 2.63 ERA for AA in the system, so we'll see what comes of that. But it was good checking in with y'all, and I will see you guys very soon. Go Phils.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Go Phils.
And enjoy the game, man.
Yeah.
Go Yankees.
Later, guys. Oh, stop it.
See you guys. Yeah,
hey,
man.
This Saturday, I'm taking a drive up to Oakland, and I'm gonna go see the Dodgers play at the Coliseum. I wanted to see the Coliseum before it's gone. I hadn't seen it yet, so I'm gonna go check it out. And now I'm crossing my fingers that Flaherty somehow starts the game on Saturday. That would be pretty dope. So I'll let you guys know.
For sure.
Yeah.
I was planning to go too, but the tickets to fly out there is expensive. It's not a safe city.
No, my dad and I are. So my dad is like basically one of my best friends. So I told him, I was like, let's just take a road trip, dude. We're gonna go first thing Saturday morning, pull up, hit the game, stay the night, drive back first thing Sunday night or Sunday morning. Like, just quick turnaround. Let's do it. So,
Ernie, you trying to get the jump on us, man? I see you making moves right now.
Nah, man. What's going on, guys? Yeah, man, we're just here. I'm making some fantasy moves while, I'm down a little bit. I've been struggling.
Well, since we have a little bit of time, like, what does this mean to some of these players that are going to new cities and they're available on fantasy? Like, I know the fantasy part of it, as we're baseball fans, like we're seeing it. We're like, okay, new city, maybe a refresh button for most of these players. Even if they were doing good, now some of these players are going to a competitive team. Does this have like an upside or downside to some of these players? Do you guys see any of these players hit like maybe a downside? Maybe be worried about it?
Let's see.
I'd have to go over like all of them
Yeah,
again because there were
just
so
all of
many
them, right?
trades this year.
just trying to think. I mean, with the Orioles getting so many extra outfielders, not that there's a lot of big name outfielder currently, but some of those guys kind of most likely take a little hit. Like Kowser was heating up, and I was excited about that. But
Hmm.
now the outfield's getting crowded again. So who knows? That might hurt him. Same thing with Kjerstad.
Playing time.
I think everyone was hoping
Yeah.
that after the trade deadline, Kjerstad was maybe going to be more of a regular at bat, and now I think in a redraft he might just be not useful. But on the other end, obviously, I think Flaherty's, he goes up. He went from a team that they're not going to win a lot to he's going to come out and get a lot more wins. So a lot more run support. So that helps. Same thing with Carlos Estevez. I don't know if he's the closer or not. That's not for sure yet. But obviously, he's in a better spot to get better opportunities for saves and or holds. So I think that helps.
I definitely feel like all the prospects that got traded to like weaker teams are going to have the opportunity to get more playing time now, and I feel like those are the guys that you should be looking at picking up if you need a last minute streamer.
Like
Great
Vargas that got traded from the Dodgers. He's going to start playing every single day. So
He's
Vargas has shown like signs of greatness in the past. And I feel like he hasn't really had that like legit shot to be an everyday player because the Dodgers lineup has just been so stacked for so long. Then now he's actually going to have a legitimate chance to play every single day. Who knows where he's going to play? Maybe he's just going to be utility, for the beginning, but he could play outfield, third base, second base. He plays all over.
Well, Eloy's gone, so I think he's most likely potentially
left field.
Well, left field. I think he's. For the fantasy people listening, I don't think you need to go and drop everything and go pick up Vargas right now by any means, but watch him. If he's getting every day at bats, then okay, yeah, maybe we pick him up, or just keep a close eye on him. If he starts heating up, I always said as a Dodger fan when Roberts came out, when Pages came up, and he said this guy's going to get every day at bats. I think that was good for him. He never gave Vargas that opportunity, and I think that was. I think Vargas needed that, and so if he's going to do that with the White Sox, that's a great point, Ernie. When you said the prospects, I think that he's one of the guys like that, and same thing with Norby. I think Norby. I know the Marlins aren't sexy, like it's not the the best team by any means, but if a guy's getting every day at bats, the top of the lineup, he's getting 4 at bats a game, might not have a lot of counting stats, but he might be pretty legit. So, and who knows? Keep an eye on Stowers. Stowers is the same thing. If he's playing every day now that Brian De La Cruz is gone, then he might be decent. He's got great prospect pedigree as well. So, those are good points.
Yeah. Who I think is their value is going to increase a lot moving from San Francisco to Atlanta is Jorge Soler.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one that his fantasy value isn't going to increase a lot. That the lineup is just so much better. The ballpark is so much better. Jorge Soler. Yeah.
Let me go pick him up right now. Hold up.
he's already rostered everywhere.
Oh man, come on, give me a chance. I saw him available in one of the leagues. I'll see if it's still available.
Yeah, another one that's definitely a park upgrade is Frankie Montas. Moving from the Reds to the Brewers, because the Reds ballpark is like number 1 in terms of home runs, even worse than Colorado. So moving to the Brewers ballpark, it's not called Miller Park anymore. What is it called?
American Family Field.
American Family Field. There you go. It's still a hitter's ballpark, but it's not as bad as like Cincinnati is, So I feel like his value is going to increase a little bit. I mean, he was a streamer anyway.
I think he's probably still a streamer, but again, he's a keep an eye on so that
he's probably still a streamer, but he's in the same division, which was I thought was a little bit weird. A trade between division rivals.
Rental though, so I think that they weren't too worried about it. Reds are out of it this year anyway. They're thinking he's probably not going to re-sign with them next year, but if he does, then whatever. He's got to re-sign.
Yeah. And then Ahmed Rosario. I don't know if you guys already talked about that, Carlos and Ernie, but that was another weird one that I didn't really get that either.
Here's what I'm thinking with the whole Dodgers situation. I think that obviously we got to make room for for some of these guys. We still have some time before Edman is healthy, so there's that. But with Kiermaier now, especially, and with Rosario, someone's got to go. We got a couple guys that are gonna probably be gone. Biggio is probably number one if I had to guess. And I don't know. I know that they for some reason still love Taylor and Kike, but it's probably one of them.
I think we need to keep Kike in the clubhouse because he keeps the energy up. He keeps the fun going. Whereas Taylor, he's like the quiet guy.
Yeah, he's down in the dumps all the time too.
Yeah, he looks like he's just like miserable all the time. Like
Right.
I get it, you're batting under the Mendoza line, but at least like you're on a really good team.
Yeah. You try. I mean, same thing with Kike. Like you said, like he's just a different vibe. And so if you're gonna get rid of one of them, I'm with you. I think they're both similar, but at least you got a guy who's bringing the momentum or the vibes up or whatever. But I think Rosario might be your third baseman. He's been the best hitter out of all of the ones we've listed right now so far this season. You let the guy play third base. He's played third base enough this season that he's probably the most consistent one. You get rid of Biggio, and then you probably send Outman back down so that Kiermaier can get center field at bats. And then honestly, they DFA'd Yarbrough, and then they ended up trading him for Kiermaier. So when Edman comes back, they'll probably just DFA Kiermaier, and like there it is, boom. Then you got your everyday center fielder. You hope Mookie's back around that time. If Lux keeps it going, there he is. And then Rosario's playing third base every day until Muncy comes back. And if he doesn't, Rosario's your everyday third baseman.
Every time I see like little trades like this, like Ahmed Rosario, Kiermaier, whoever else the Dodgers got or any other teams, I always think that these type of trades are going to be like used in a different trade. Like they trade a guy, like they trade for a guy just to trade him away in a bigger trade, right before the deadline. But sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. I've seen it in the past, but this year didn't happen. So the Dodgers are kind of just like overloaded. Their 40-man roster is just like overflowing right now. There's too many.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like maybe Muncy's not he's not getting any better. I think that's why they made all these infield moves. I think that's why they did it. I just feel like maybe there's something more to Muncy than what we expect.
I agree.
He's not so.
Yeah, and
that's why it's kind of scary, Kevin, when you ask me to trade you. Like I don't know,
Well, honestly, like I was sending to everyone. I'm assuming everyone's answer is no, for the same reason why I'm offering him. But it's just an offer, just to float it out there. I'm probably just gonna take my lumps and keep him on my IL. It is what it is because of the potential. But I think that the Dodgers. If you notice, like you said, there are a lot of the infield guys, but a lot of them also have outfield like potential. Like they have that flexibility, and I think that's because if for some gods, the baseball gods are watching, and they have Muncy come back, some of these guys can get pushed out to the outfield, and then it's not a complete waste. But in a similar sense to what Will was kind of saying, I think some of these trades, a lot of people are like, boom, we got to trade. This is for the long haul. I think some of these are just stopgaps. We still have Mookie. I mean, that's another thing. Mookie can go back to the outfield as well. So let's say Mookie goes back out to the outfield, fills some of those spots, and then you got some of these infield guys who can play the infield. So I honestly think Kiermaier, if he's on the roster in the playoffs, it's probably because there's another injury somewhere. But if everyone comes back healthy like they're supposed to, I think they would maybe rather have a lefty bat like Outman instead of Kiermaier. But I think Outman right now is most likely going to be in the minors.
You know what though?
You hit it on the spot too, Kevin, because Betts at shortstop, he's a liability there with all those errors. So if you move him out to the outfield, that'll do the Dodgers a lot better. A lot of people don't agree with when I say things like that. Why? Because they want to see Mookie Betts at short. I get it, but those little errors that he makes, like one or two every week, it doesn't help.
I agree. For this year, you go when you're going for it, you put him back in the outfield. Next year, you figure out the infield situation. You let the boy play second base. You figure out the whole Lux thing. So that way you can keep him long. His legs healthier for the long run. But for this year, you let him play in the outfield. You let these infielders that that's their position do their thing, and let's make a run. And I think that's what the Dodger fans are kind of hoping for. If in the long run you want Mookie to play in the infield so that he's healthier for the long stretch, I can back that. But right now, you don't want the liability. I agree with that defensively.
You know, for a long time, Dodgers were prioritizing bats, but they were also prioritizing defense. And it seems like they kind of like have gone away from that just in like recent years, like acquiring Jason Hayward. He's not, the best in right field. And Andy Paez playing every day in the outfield. Like, he's not the best defender either. We've seen him make a couple missteps, and Trey Turner a couple seasons ago. He's a terrible defensive shortstop. Moving Mookie to shortstop just to make room in outfield for bigger bats like Hayward and some other guys that they've gotten. So I feel like their mentality has kind of like shied away from being a very good defensive team, and trying to like pick up like those like bigger bats. So maybe picking up Kiermaier is kind of just like, well, it worked for us in 2020 when Bellinger was robbing home runs and Mookie Betts was robbing home runs. Like, we need that in the outfield, So I feel like maybe putting Kiermaier out there, who's one of the best defensive center fielders in Major League Baseball right now, that could be potentially be one of the reasons why they want him in the lineup. It's like Outman's not doing anything offensively. Paez has slowed down so much. Take those bats out of the lineup. Even if Kiermaier is a liability at the plate, at least he's out there making some Superman dives and making amazing plays in the outfield. He does need to stadium a little more though.
Exactly. It's the Rojas argument, it's Rojas wasn't doing as much at the plate, but he's reliable at short. So it's the same thing. Obviously you don't want all your guys like that. And I think that's the good part about the flexibility once people are healthy, is that maybe sometimes you don't. You're playing a team that has better whatever guys who are you're playing one of your pitchers is more of a fly ball pitcher. Then you take the hit and you put Kiermaier in the outfield, but then you have better hitters playing show.
Yeah, but there's
we
that's
sorry,
it. I guess
Ernie,
it
we
seems
turned
like
this
there's
into a Dodger podcast.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say that there's no more trades. I guess that's it. It doesn't seem like nothing else is coming in.
Yeah.
Orioles designate Cole Irvin for assignment, so they just made room from their 40-man roster for one of the 27 players that they just acquired.
Yeah.
Rays acquired J.D. Davis.
Okay.
That's the last one that came in.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man.
Is that from San Francisco? That's from San Francisco, right? J.D. Davis?
He was with the Yankees, actually.
With the Yankees.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's why he's in a Yankee uniform right here. Uh-huh.
I kind of remember hearing them as a Giant too. I don't know why.
Might have been last year.
Beautiful.
I don't know, one of these years. But I get you, Will. I kind of remember hearing him as a Giant. But yeah, if there's nothing else, I don't know if you guys want to keep going. But there's nothing.
He was in New York.
New York with the Mets, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that, but I thought he was at the Giants after that.
Yeah. And then he went to the Yankees mid-season, or middle of the first half, and then he got DFA'd.
Maybe I just got confused with the orange.
Yeah.
Same orange, yes. Yeah. Let's see, private chat.
I guess I got to step out, but it was nice talking baseball with you guys. We'll stay tuned for this Thursday show. You guys will be going live, Will?
Not live, but we will be recording, and we'll kind of be doing some like follow up to like today's show, where we're going over these trades that happened, and seeing where the value ends up, players that increase value and decrease value, and potentially making some trades in your fantasy leagues, because usually fantasy leagues have their trade deadline a week or two after the MLB trade deadline. So hopefully we can get some good information out there.
For
sure.
Show.
All right, guys. Catch you guys later.
Sounds good, Ernie. See you, man.
Yeah, see you, man. So yeah, I guess we'll. You guys have any last mentions before we log out? I mean, I think it was a slow trading deadline again. Last year was the first year we got on, Will, remember? And it was slow, dude.
Yeah.
This year we at least got a little bit, but
I mean,
it's
there were
just
a
not.
lot of trades. There were
Yeah,
just a lot of little trades, like
yeah,
nothing like
no big
really
blockbuster.
Yeah,
significant. You know, like
yeah,
Josh Chisholm being like the biggest trade in 2024. Like that's,
Yeah,
I mean, Jazz Chisholm has all the potential in the world. You know, he was on the cover of MLB The Show, and the Marlins were marketing him like he was supposed to be like this like huge thing. And I think he had like issues with someone on the team.
Rojas.
Actually with Miguel Rojas, yeah.
Rojas.
And he was saying like, they were having beef back and forth. And Miguel Rojas was trying to be like the vet in the clubhouse, and Jazz Chisholm kind of like wasn't accepting like his like advice and like tutelage and all that. So I don't know. I think maybe Jazz Chisholm could be somewhat like a cancer in the clubhouse, something like what Manny Machado was a few seasons ago, where he thinks he's bigger than the team. Like first of all, you got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
I'm not. No one's going to care about you if you're only playing 100 games in a season,
yeah,
which I
left.
think he's coming up on that soon. Actually, it might be like his first time playing over 100 games in a season.
Yeah.
But it's like you got to be humble, man. Like no one's going to want to root for you if you're that type of player that's talking trash on your own teammates.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, the Marlins won the trade deadline. They cleaned up from everyone.
Yep.
They got like if you look at they're a bunch of young guys, but like if they can hold on to some of these young guys and then their pitching that's going to be coming back and up and coming and stuff, the Marlins could actually be a fun team to watch. You can never say that they'll be in it because it's the Marlins, but they'll be fun.
You know what the problem is with Marlins and trading for prospects is that they don't know what to do with them.
True.
It's like it reminds me of like the Joker in The Dark Knight Rises, like where he's like if you're chasing a puppy and you finally get it, like I wouldn't know what to do with it, and I feel like that's kind of like what the Marlins are doing also. Like they're getting all these like prospects that are like wide-eyed, eye-opening trades, and it's like, oh, Marlins are going to be really good in 3 to 4 years. But what happened to Sixto Sanchez, and what happened to Yuri Perez? And there's so many other players that the Marlins have traded for or even drafted that were supposed to be like great players in the future that just kind of really haven't panned out. The players that they eventually get, like when they got Luis Arias, he wasn't developed by the Marlins. He was developed by the Twins, right? And then they ended up trading him and getting some prospects in return. I think the only one that I can really think of recently that the Marlins actually did develop was Jose Fernandez.
Yeah.
But the Marlins have won the World Series with all these little trades that they make, and they all come up in the same system after a while because they won it in '97 and then 2003. So the way they won it was they built the core like they're doing, like you just said, Kevin. They did it the way that they did it this year. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if next year or in 2 years these guys do make it all the way to the World Series.
The thing is also the coaching's not the same as it was 20 years ago in 2003.
And they've had some bad luck with the injuries, like you were saying, but it could either be bad luck or the way that they're handling it. And I think they need to look at themselves like at that for that exact reason. Like, what is it? Is it actually them? Is it the coaching staff and like the rehab type of things? But I think they have such a big building block of young prospects that the way, like you were saying, Carlos, like they should do it is let these guys play, let them do their thing, and then maybe flip some of these young ones because right now they don't have any veteran anything basically other than Sandy Alcantara when he comes back. But other than that, I mean, they don't really got any veteran guys. So we're going to be talking about that at some point. Like, a bunch of good guys, but they're all, 12 years old basically. So I think that like you let these guys, you let them play, you let them look decent, and then you go and make some trades for some veteran guys that can maybe catapult them. But I think what Will said is the prime thing is that the coaching staff is different, the medical staff has got to be different. So something there is not letting them either develop or reach their full potential. But they're at least doing their due diligence now to put themselves in a good spot. It's just how they go from here, and for me, I don't hate the Marlins. So if there's a team that's gonna be maybe doing good, I'm okay with the Marlins doing that, because if it's them, then that means it's not the Giants or the Padres.
Right?
So
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. All right. Well, here comes big Aaron Judge in the Phillies game. Hopefully he hits it out. I need those points.
all right,
Don't let
I'm gonna
John
go
hear you
watch.
say that.
I know, right?
I'm gonna pick up my kids and then go watch Jeffrey Springs and see how he looks with his first game back. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks for letting me crash your party.
Nah,
Trade
man,
deadline
this is
is one of my favorites, so love it.
yeah. I wish there was more trades, man. I wish there was
Yeah,
more
me
trade.
too. It's the
Yeah.
wild card, I think.
Yeah.
I think the wild card screwed it up. But
I
all right,
think
boys.
so too. All right,
Peace
see
out.
ya.
Later, dude.
All right, well, I think we should just call it here too, man. I don't see any more trades. And then
Yeah, it looks like that's it, man. I mean, it's already 6:45, 45 minutes after the deadline, so
and
I think
nothing.
we're done. Yeah, this
That's cool.
last one, what was it? Rays acquired JD Davis. That was 21 minutes ago. So
And that
I
was
think
it.
it's safe to say that that's pretty much it for 2024.
Hmm. But if you hear something, then on Thursday, you guys can mention it there.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, we have the fantasy show on Thursday, so if you guys can see it, hit that like and subscribe. So we'll see you then. All right, see you guys.
All right, brother. See you, man.